All right, super important video for you van lifers out in colder climates today. And I'm very excited to share a solution that I found if you're having issues with your diesel heater, your Chinese diesel heaters to be more specific, but I'm a little bit skeptical also for the Webasto heaters, or the a lot more expensive ones, because the main issue that I keep reading about, and I thought I was alone in this, is that a lot of people are having difficulty heating up their camper vans, when, let's say, the temperature outside goes into like -10, -20, and even colder than that territory. And the truth is, like, no matter how well you insulate your van, and I guess you could kind of counter that with like maybe having multiple diesel heaters, but you can see how much space that's going to take and how ridiculous that would get at some point. You're just not going to be able to heat up your camper van to a comfortable temperature, like generally, like you would be able to do with a home, for example. And the main reason that is because homes are not made out of steel. Okay, they're made out of like wood and insulation and like plaster and like G-Proc and all of that stuff. So those materials don't radiate cold and heat that much. They just absorb more temperatures than anything. But you're basically living inside a metal cage, and that metal cage is very susceptible to whatever temperature is doing outside. So that's why it's very difficult to cool down camper vans, and even more difficult to heat them up in the winter. It's actually kind of like pushing a boulder up a hill in most cases. So the solution I found for that is very simple. You actually, because most of you, the way you set it up, you probably have a duct somewhere. And even if you have like one of those angling things where you can direct the direction of the heat and stuff, I mean, it's like that'll only go so far, right? But you'll never be able to heat it up, the entire van 100% to like 20 degrees and -20-degree weather outside. So what you do is you get like a flexible aluminum metal duct, okay? And then to that you have to attach some sort of attachment that's going to connect to your duct so that you can actually have I'm going to edit some B-roll so you guys see what I'm talking about. So the hose is actually going to be, you're going to put it on where your bed is, where you're sleeping, and it's going to be kind of like taking like a nice hot shower, but like while you're sleeping. So you can actually direct the heat directly on you. You could put underneath the blankets and stuff, and you can really, like, honestly, like the way I set it up, it feels like taking a warm shower, and I have a hard time waking up in the morning because it's so cozy. You just feel like staying in there forever. And you use a lot less diesel and a lot less electricity because you could put your heater at like the lowest setting and it'll still warm you up like really well. And the mattress of the bed will absorb the heat, the blankets, your clothes, all of that stuff. So it's super efficient. Now the rest of the van is going to be cold, but that's completely fine because you're just trying to sleep in there. Now if you want to spend your days inside of the van in the winter, to be honest, I don't know how you would do that. Like that's very, very challenging. Like personally, if I were going to live in a colder climate inside the van, I would just spend my days in like public libraries, malls, and like cafes and stuff to save on heating, electricity, and all of that stuff, because it's a lot harder. But for the evenings, it's no problem. Like you can do that and stay comfortable in the night, probably even more so than you would in your apartment, because you don't have like a heater that you're literally pointing directly at yourself. And a lot of apartments and stuff have terrible insulation anyway, so it's like, So that's my solution. So I hope that you guys appreciate that and that you'll give it a shot for yourself if you're having the same issues that I was having. Because for me, like I said, it was the only way I could get down here without freezing to death or having to rent like motels along the way. And I was prepared to do it, but it worked out pretty well. So I'll leave a link to the exact products. At least I'll try to, the exact products that I use so you see what I'm talking about. But really it's about DIYing your own solution, because like even my solution, it doesn't fit 100%. There's still some things I need to do to make sure that the attachment doesn't fall off. And I'm going to do that more in the spring when things heat up, because I didn't have the time really to set it up properly for now. So I might make an update. But basically, it's just something that connects to your duct, by any means necessary. And I made mine like a temporary thing, so I could take it on and off, because sometimes you want to just like, like it's not that cold and you just want a little bit of general heat for the van. So to have both options is, it's really good. So Let me know what you guys think. If you have any other solutions that you guys have come up with, let us know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, guys, that's it for this one. If you're building something that's meant to last, whether it's a camper van, a business, or just a better way of living, I'm glad you're here. Everything I use, recommend, or offer is linked in the description. Take what works, build your own blueprint, and I'll see you in the next one.